Welcome back, everyone, to another Freedom 35er sit down. It's the series where we get to know more about artists and creators in the CNFT space. My name is Tommy. I go by TLWMY.
My name is TJ. I go by Lazy T.
And I am the other Tom. I go by Lavish Bear.
And tonight, we're joined by the founders of a new board game on the Cardano blockchain, Cardopoly. Welcome on, Bobby and Drex. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Finally, right? We've been trying to set this up for a bit now.
I know. I feel like it's been avoiding us a little bit these past few weeks, and we've got a chance to chat with you guys all the way back into a Taco Tuesday over in Twitter Spaces. And Bobby, I know you've had some life events that have happened over the past week here. So welcome you guys on, and I'm glad we're finally getting a chance to sit down.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had a child born last week, so we had to push our meeting.
Yeah, congrats, man. That is amazing. I know you sent that over to me like, hey, I can still do it this week, and I'm like, you know what? Just take your time with that, and we'll make our way back over here.
I was impressed with the dedication. Tommy's like, yeah, he said he could do it before the baby's born. I'm like, what do you mean before? Like, yeah, an hour before he said he could do it real quick. I'm like, what?
I was in the hospital texting. I'm like,
he would do it.
We might be able to get out of here, 6:30. I think I can make it. And Tommy's like, no.
I'm like, dude, take your time. Cause I was like, watch, he's like mid interview. We're going to go here. And he's like, yo guys, no, I got to go. It's time. And he's like, no, Drex, you handle this. It's your, no problem. He's got this.
Or just live from the delivery room.
Yeah. That would not get approved.
Yeah. Well, no, guys, we appreciate you jumping on over here, and what you guys are creating is something unique inside the Cardano space in general. I mean, the idea itself is so, it dates back, forever from as far as games go, as far as board games, bringing that to the blockchain, I think is revolutionary, and so especially inside this space. So for, all the new listeners listening on, I guess Cardopoly is a famous play, the famous board game Monopoly, and in different aspects of just, I guess board games in general, what you guys are trying to bring together. But Bobby and Drex, what do you guys, as far as, Cardopoly goes, what are you guys looking to bring into this space? And then also, how did you guys get into Cardano and CNFTs?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. Basically this idea of having a board game on being used through NFT tokens was just something that I thought was really cool. The simplest explanation of what we're doing is we're trying to create the first board game utility project on Cardano. And my favorite childhood game was that classic board game that we're going to try to bring into the modern blockchain age. And basically we're going to make it a large scale game so that we can have as much reach out there and provide as much fun to as many players out there on Cardano. So changing it up a little bit, making it more accessible, making it a lot more fun. And, we're going to have a nice little twist that I think a lot of people are excited about by a live leaderboard with real ADA prizes.
Yeah, that's an amazing, I said, ambitious thing. And it's so simple, but at the same time, it's like I said, you're upgrading it to this new digital and blockchain world. So that's amazing what you guys are trying to build. And that's one of the reasons that it was so interesting to me and why I wanted to go ahead and set this up. And then for you guys too, I guess Cardano, how did you guys actually get into Cardano? What got you into CNFTs, and when was your kind of time entry point into this space?
Yeah, so I have been invested in crypto since 2019. Started off, I think what everyone started with was Bitcoin, dabbled in a little bit of Ethereum, just kind of was playing with those. And then I found out about Cardano in February of last year. And, I was kind of just staking, got really excited about the staking platform, collecting my, payment every 5 days. And, that was cool. And then I found out about the whole NFT world, and, Cardano ADA was kind of flat, and, it was kind of going up and down. And, in the classic equities market, that's kind of a scary thing. So when I found out about the whole NFT side, it was probably around August of last year. So, fairly late in the game, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but still within the same year of induction. So I kind of got onto those. I found a few projects. One of them was a rug pull, so that wasn't a good start. But I love the idea of trading and collecting and meeting all these different creators instead of just sitting back and looking at a number, moving around every week. So that's kind of what I found really special about this space. And I truly believe Cardano has a lot of the best creators and the most humble people that you can talk to and that are willing to help you. So, shout out to all the other Cardano projects.
Nice. How about you, Drex? What was your journey into Cardano and CNFTs?
Yeah, so I've been kind of in and out of crypto since maybe like 2013, 2014 or so. Always kind of
early.
Knew about crypto, thought, okay, that's kind of cool. Played with, some like Bitcoin gambling stuff early days and like did some ASIC mining. Like, I would just kind of play with it. But, I've been a software engineer since 2004 professionally. And so kind of as a software engineer, I'm a geek, right? So of course I'm looking into crypto. Of course I'm looking into 3D printing. But got really heavy into the NFT world, just buying NFTs and trading them about a year ago or so. And actually, that's where I met Bobby. I met Bobby when we both got into a project that rugged us and a whole bunch of other people. And when that happened, I said, geez, like we both invested really heavily into that project. And I was getting more and more fascinated with kind of like the technical aspects of it by the day. And I said, hey, like, why don't we just try to build our own NFT? Why don't we do our own project? And, as a group, we said, yeah, that'd be cool. And as kind of Bobby alluded to, his favorite childhood game one night, he had some thoughts one night, wrote them down, woke up and said, hey guys, I thought of this great game. So, as a software engineer, I, dove into this project, started doing, some foundational stuff for what could be the game and what could be the mint. And as I got into it, I got more and more fascinated by the different problems that you have to solve really to even run a mint, even like secondarily to that, how do you really track ownership of an NFT in real time? And I've always been like a real-time data and UI buff myself in my career. I've always really pushed to have real-time UIs all over the place. So got totally just fascinated with how I could apply my sort of things I like, which is, real-time UIs into this space. Got totally addicted. And since then, I've dove into this in a really big way to where this is really my main focus is NFTs, particularly our project is my main focus and what we can do with it. What types of experiences we can provide the user. I'm really, really excited to do. And like right now, like what's got me anxious now is I just can't wait. Like I wish I could show more now and sooner. But once we really get out there, some of these ideas we have and some of the experiences we want to show around this, I think we're gonna have something really special on our hands. So long-winded answer to your question, kind of not answer to your question, but that's kind of how I got into it and really why it's still like I'm so enamored by it.
Nice. So was there anything about Cardano in specific that was just you, or do you guys ever dabble in any other kind of blockchains prior to this in the NFT world?
Yeah, so I messed around with Ethereum a good bit, did some smart contract development, some kind of hello world sort of smart contract development, right? But I got into Cardano because it's more niche. That's really what attracted me to it. The community is super small, but really, really supportive and really, really rich. Yeah. It's the projects I've discovered just through different community connections has kind of blown my mind. When I wrote the minting pipeline for this, I became a total Cardano convert, just as far as how clean it is to do a multi-sig mint on Cardano. If you want to do, well, one, native tokens, right? So like if you want to do an NFT or just a fungible token, you can do that without writing a single line of smart contract code on Cardano. That's not the case with Ethereum. And if you want to do what's called lazy minting in the Ethereum world, which is the Web3 all cost passed on to the user doing the mint style, lazy minting. If you want to do that, you got to write even more smart contract code. In Cardano, it's simply building a transaction, right? And when I really did it and went through it, I was even more convinced there's something really special on the technology side with Cardano.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, I never heard that from like,
that's interesting to hear
from that side of it.
That side is the development side. And, especially with some projects, a lot of times we end up talking kind of more to, it makes sense, kind of like the marketing, the community managers and stuff. So it's kind of interesting to hear some of the technical sides of the mint process and the project process.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that different?
Very, very lucky to be rug pulled with Drex because
We've all been
it was,
there.
It was the biggest blessing in disguise to be able to start a project with this guy, because not only is he a great guy, and he's probably the easiest developer I've ever met to talk to, but he knows his shit, and he can talk this stuff all day
Oh,
long.
Bobby, it goes both ways, I have to say, too. We all really hit the jackpot when we got rug pulled. It's best thing that could have happened. So.
Oh, that's awesome though. It's cool that you guys got brought together like that. And so I know it's the two of you guys, and then you guys have how many team members now? You guys were saying 6 of them now?
Yeah, so we have 6 members. 2 of them are on this show right now. And then we have another guy from Australia, Scooter. We have another guy from Portugal, Paj. Doey's from the UK. And so and then Nighthawk is from Amsterdam. So nice. And they have all kind of got their own expertise that we really enjoy. Some of them are kind of Discord mod experts. One guy's a social media expert. And it worked out super well to have someone in every time zone. So it really is kind of a global a global opportunity where we don't have any downtime. I call Spooter's shift the graveyard shift in Australia, because he checks in when we're all in bed. But it keeps the chat going, and we have a really, really good following now from all over the world that I think can appreciate it. So
I think we know exactly what you mean, because we recently started our Discord. It's been, I think, just 2 weeks now or so,
something like that,
2.5 weeks, and we're realizing that we have kind of people to listen from all over the world. So there's just times where we're at work, or like you said, especially overnight, where we have people in Australia saying good morning, and then we don't see it till 4 hours later because we're just getting some sleep then.
Yep. Yeah, it's truly how Cardano is definitely, obviously we can see that is very global inside us. That's cool. And the more we talk and meet different people throughout these sit downs, we realize that they do have similar kind of makeups to the actual project and team itself, where they're all over the place and they're not necessarily in the same area. So it's cool how everybody kind of connects and starts to play a part inside of these different projects. So that's awesome for you guys as well to see that you guys have that dynamic to you guys too.
It's really hard for a single person to run a project on any NFT in Cardano, especially now where the market is driving more utility, more from every project. It's asking a lot from the team. So you kind of have to build a team of experts around you. And one thing you'll notice about us is none of us are artists. So we actually outsourced our art, and we partnered with a really, really good art group called Leon Art Group out of Iran. And they developed our game pieces and came up with some phenomenal 3D art, taking basically our vision for each player piece and turning it into something awesome, which we're super excited about that partnership. So
Yeah, no, that's one thing. As you're speaking about the artwork, that was one of the things that kind of drew me to you too, right? Is the classic board game feel, but what are we playing with? I remember those little plastic pieces that you always had to fight over the best one with your either siblings or friends or something like that. So for you guys here, you guys have a very unique design to your actual game pieces themselves. I'll go ahead and share it here while we're on the screen on the actual website itself. These are super unique. Can you guys kind of give a little bit of background to the design team and how you guys kind of came up with the different styles for these?
Yeah, so part of them are a little bit of homage to the classic game. Like you see, the car was my favorite growing up, so I always had to get that car.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make it a little bit more modern, kind of, a little bit have more character to it. And then we kind of built off that. So like, what were the core pieces? The money bag, which I think I heard Tom talking about in one of the other podcasts. He's like, oh, it'd be so funny if they had a thimble or a money bag.
Yeah, he went the
thimble. The shoe. So we came up with some kind of classic pieces that we built off of. And then, we wanted to have 20 unique designs. So there's 5 one-of-one legendaries, and then there's 15, we'll call them commons, that we designed. But basically, once you have the liberty to build that many pieces, you can kind of really grow and expand what you want to see on the board. So between the 6 of us, we came up with some pretty fun ideas. The shoe right there, that's actually a high top
diamond shoe.
Dude,
that's sick.
Yeah.
The diamond shoe is one of my favorites, and I know this is one of the ones currently that has yet to be pulled, right? Is this the last legendary out there that's sitting around?
That's right. Yeah. So it's not a legendary, but each diamond is a one-of-one.
Okay.
So there's 15 diamond pieces, And then there's 5 one-of-one legendaries. Like we have a Lambo, we have a Tiger. We did a custom one-of-one legendary for Leon Art Group, just to say thank you for them. There's the Tiger there.
That's cool.
And then we have a Yeti, which was recently pulled. So there's some really fun pieces. So in all honesty, we just kind of got together as a team and just were like, what would we like to see on a game board? And that's kind of what we came up with. And Leon Art Group did an amazing job bringing them to life. So
yeah, I really love the quality of the different pieces. They all look very unique, very clean, and the diamond ones especially. Some of these look really good the way that they did these. So I'm a big fan. I know you guys have paid homage to some fun stuff inside the community itself. I know myself when I got a chance to mint one. This was one of my favorite pieces that I had pulled, and it was the seaplane. Which recently the CAPTCHAs inside of anywhere. If you've been in the CNFT space or use NFT Maker, you probably ran into the seaplanes, and it was probably made famous, I think, by Disco Solaris during that drop when people were grinding these. But I loved. Was this a later edition, or was this something that you guys had already planned in?
Yeah, that's a funny story. I heard you guys talking about this, I think, on last week's show. So I have a cabin up north, and a lot of the more wealthy people, not myself, have these little seaplanes that they fly from the city and land at their cottage. And so I've always kind of been obsessed with these as a kid, and so we came up with this idea based on that, in December. So way before. But the funny thing
you guys are ahead of the game, right?
Yeah. When that other drop happened with the seaplane CAPTCHA, it kind of worked out perfectly for us because
that was perfect timing.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know the backstory to it, so it just happened to be, like you said, perfect timing for this. And I thought it was just like a funny homage at that point, but it works out really well, and I think it'll stick for some of these players. I know for me especially, who will jump in here with this seaplane, it always remind me of those times inside of Cardano. And it'll be fun for us to kind of just go along and always, do a throwback to that, or at least for some people. So it's cool to see that this was actually not even part of that itself and what you guys were actually building. It was some pre-thought to all of it. But I love the fact that you guys played.
Yeah, just a good little bonus though, extra little promotion, because it makes sense for a game piece. I like that a lot of your game pieces are kind of made to go around and move, like your helicopters, cars,
the boats,
even the characters. They would walk as opposed to like, what a thimble's going to roll across. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to do out there. So it makes so much more sense.
The
burger's just going to roll. Yeah.
So I like that a lot of them move. So the seaplane just makes sense though. Then you get that extra funny story behind it. It just kind of fits in the space even more. It becomes like almost like a meme within itself.
Yeah. Oh, I
didn't see the Yeti before. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, some of the legendaries. So those are the legendaries, the official one-on-ones, right? The money is it money bag a legendary? Or is this also? Oh, it's a diamond.
It's a diamond.
Like,
yeah. No, the money bag comes in 15 different colors.
Nice,
including the diamond. Yeah.
Yeah. No, these all look super clean, and like I said, the legendary one-on-one. So, is there anything special for these other than just the fact that you get to flex them, or is there anything else tied to these down the line? Or are these are the pieces where people look out and like, oh, okay, that's that guy. I got them.
Yeah, I mean. Originally, it was kind of just a flex to have a one-on-one, but we wanted to do something and give back to our community. So for every of the 5 legendaries and 15 diamond pieces, we're going to be doing a little bit of a royalty gift based on our secondary market sales. So we have 10% royalties, and we're giving a portion of that back to the holders of those pieces. Which is really something that we wanted to do. We had to do a bit of research around, what was allowed and the volume around that. But for our case, in a 750 asset drop with, very little changing hands, it worked out to be something that we could do for the community. And it was something that we could do pretty easily because of the tech that Drex was building to be able to track players, who owns what. And give a Discord role for those ownership tokens.
See, that'd be fun. Like, right, yeah, you give them like the Yeti role or any of that stuff inside of there. That'd be fun. And I think people appreciate that stuff, right? Like they like be recognized inside the community itself that they're building. So I guess to dial it back to like the game pieces look amazing, what you guys have dealt. And I guess to kind of explain, we'll get into, I guess, a little bit the recent announcement of the game board itself, but just to kind of give a little bit of backstory on Cardopoly. There's 750 unique game pieces, which are, you're coming towards the tail end of the mint right now. I think you said there was about 215 left, still to go. They were 80 a piece. You guys delayed your initial launch to go ahead and find a better minting experience, which I really appreciated up here in the top hand right of the actual website itself. You guys had a sign-in feature where you're able to hook up to different wallets. Can you guys explain a little bit about that? Because I know you guys were a consultant with some of the, I believe, what did you say, the Derp team and some other people inside the community that helped you guys do that.
Yeah. So when I kind of set out to do this, so like, with the group, it's my role to come up with, hey, how are we going to actually do this mint, right? So I started looking into it, and it was pretty clear to me that Derp is sort of the thought leader in this right now of how to do the cleanest possible mint experience. The flow chart that they published on Twitter was really kind of mind blowing to me when I saw it. I said, okay, and that kind of ties back to what I was saying earlier with how clean these transactions are to build. I said, okay, like this is going to be pretty doable. So I went and started implementing that. And when you really get into some of these libraries that IOHK's put out around building transactions, they're still a little bit raw. I will say they're beautiful libraries, and they let you do everything from change calculation to they absolutely anything you'd want to do to build it, you can do. It's just not the most approachable thing. So about a week and a half into torturing myself trying to get this thing just right, I reached out to Derp, and Derp was super cool and really generous with his time. I shared kind of a transaction that I built and some concerns I had around it, and he was super kind to look at the raw encoded data and give me one or two places to go look, and also let me know I wasn't totally way off into right field, which I was starting to feel like. I was like, oh my God, because like a week and a half kind of by myself on this, I was going a little crazy. So him kind of showing me one or two things, and also the great content that he put together prior with that flow chart. I wouldn't have been able to do this without Derp and Derp. So big shout out to them for sure. But we're doing a Web3 minting experience, which in my view, why do it any other way? I mean, there's so many benefits to it for the user. There's one or two hiccups right now, which, using this, sometimes you have to refresh the page and things that I'll work out. But for the user, the experience is probably the cleanest you can get as far as a mint, right? NAMI pops up, you type your password, hit enter, you've minted. Another benefit to that is that there's no real cost to us as the project to do that minting transaction. That the transaction cost is the tiny transaction cost is passed on to the user, which people don't mind. And really, I'm even viewing this as an opportunity for future airdrops to build out workflows where people can call in their airdrop. Really we can tag them as eligible, but they can go ahead and call in that airdrop through Web3. I don't want to go on a whole rabbit hole tangent about this, but I really believe that these flows through Web3 are like the way to do a mint today.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think Drex too, the fact that we started off by wanting to do a traditional mint, and he took this Mult-Sig method by the reins and just was so determined to make it happen. I know you're really humble in that, but there really isn't that many people doing it. There's probably 3 projects that have the capabilities right now that are doing Mult-Sig minting. And for him to build it from scratch on his own with a little bit of insight, I thought that was pretty mind-blowing to me. And I really enjoyed the process. I like that users get their NFT the second their ADA leaves their wallet. They don't have to wait. So I just think this is kind of the future of where minting is going. And it really does help with congestion, making it a single transaction as opposed to multiple transactions clogging up the chain.
Yeah, no, I really appreciated that too, because I know originally we were starting to talk about, setting up this sit down. Even in general, you guys were like, hey, you know what, we had a little bit of a delay, but we're working on getting the mint set up right now. It's our priority. And like I said, I appreciated this method so much more than just the standard traditional, here's the address, go ahead and send your ADA and, clog the blockchain up and hope that you got it kind of thing. So this technology obviously is pushing the space forward, but I just appreciated that you guys went ahead and got it and were able to do it. And that's cool to hear the backstory too on that, Drex, on how, you're beating your head against the wall a little bit, you got some guidance, and then boom, you're able to make it work. So that's very appreciative. And I had a very, very smooth minting experience when I did it. I think I had connected my NAMI to it, not the CC vault. And I think I refreshed it one time and was able to go ahead, sign my transaction. And a few minutes later, it was sitting in my wallet. So it was very, very easy to do.
No, I like that. Hearing the effort and time to actually think out and how to do a mint properly. It seems like in this space, especially if you're going to be a new project, if you're not kind of already an established name, you know, maybe an Aeonium Sky or Yummy, they could probably just post an address in the Discord. And even if people are upset, they're like, we don't care, we're popular enough, we got plenty of followers. But if you really want to come in new, and if you don't have a clean mint process or something set up to kind of make it fair and easy for everyone, it really turns people away pretty quick, where even if they were excited, and they may not get one, if the mint is still fair, then they kind of try and go into the secondary, where if people get turned off, they're like, you know what, I was going to do this, the mint process was terrible, I'm done, like I'm just not getting in on this anymore. So it's nice to see that as a kind of change from what we normally see with a lot of projects.
Yeah, for sure.
I know
100%.
A couple
It's
people
been-
even our Discord grabbed some, and I know that they were, you know, had no problem. Everyone's just posting them up the day it was ready to go. They're like, hey, got my piece, here it is.
Yep.
It's been a big blessing for us. Sorry, Tommy. I was just going to say it's been a big blessing in disguise for us, because the tech that he built for this platform is going to be very crucial to our game. But also a little blessing in disguise is there's no refunds with this method, right? You sign your transaction, and so it saved Drex probably about a week of dealing with refunds.
I never even consider that, especially when it sounds like you guys, when the mint comes, are so busy and it's so much, just the time presses on. Right now we are working like 24, 48 hours straight to make sure everything was running smooth the whole time. And then when you hear these other projects where they have to then now have a week worth of just constant sending transactions back as refunds, and then probably also then dealing with the troubleshooting of people DMing saying they didn't get it and having to actually check and see if they sent anything or where they sent it to, and make sure that you get that customer service side. That probably is, after that initial crunch the mint, you guys just don't want to deal with that. That makes a lot of sense to do it that way.
Oh, dude, like I'll never criticize any project's mint ever again. Like now that I know what goes into creating the process for it, and even knowing that many people are doing a lot of this much more manually than we did, Tom, like you're saying, like I don't know how some of these one or two people projects do it. It is a lot of work. So the more you can automate, the better. Eliminating refunds was definitely huge. I think eliminating any kind of fees on our end was also really huge. I mean, it adds up really fast. And the Discord linking and other things, but
yeah, it was super clean for what you guys are doing, and I appreciated that. And like I said, I'm glad that you guys took your time to get it right and do it the right way that you guys wanted to, rather than just rush it out just to have it out. So that was one thing that I really appreciated on the launch. And then from there, I know we got a chance to speak about, the actual game itself. I know, Bobby, you can probably explain a little bit about this, but again, there's 750 of these pieces right now at 80 ADA. And then the game itself is, like you said, a throwback to the classic board game. Can you kind of explain a little bit about the game and, how it came to be and what it is?
Yeah, so we wanted to basically scale up the classic game to be something that a lot more people could enjoy, and create kind of a competitive environment for 750 players. So one thing that we had to think of is this is a global game. It can't be turn-based, or else people would stop playing very fucking quick.
What's he doing?
So we kind of brainstormed what we think are pretty fair rules for a large-scale game that's going to be played in real time. And a lot of this is thought up on paper, and we've posted the rules, but we will be doing a closed beta and then an open beta for our top 100 Discord members, where we'll iron out some of the mechanics, because I'm not going to say we thought of everything, but we'll be doing that in April and May ahead of our game launch in June. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's 750 game pieces playing on a 1500 property game board, where all 750 players will compete in real time, and it'll be a play at your own pace style, like I mentioned.
So all 750 can play at once, then, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Cool.
So the games will last 1 week, and there'll be a leaderboard with the top 30 finishers get paid out in real ADA prizes. So nice. How that works is basically, as you join the game with your game piece, you get 250 free rolls, and we're gonna iron out that number, but I think 250 seems about right, because it may seem like a lot, but on a 1500 property board game, that gets you around 3/4 if you roll double six every time. So for for the average player, you're probably going to get around a quarter of the board
Yeah.
with 250 rolls.
Okay. And then
Right.
from there, you can also buy back in with rolls as well, right?
Correct. So this is where the leaderboard prizing funding comes into play. So you're allowed to buy an additional 250 rolls for 5 ADA as many times as you want throughout that week-long game. The rolls don't carry over to the following week's game. We're basically going to run them 1 week on, 1 week off, all the way through to December, and then we'll be kind of working on our season 2 game. But you basically buy the 5 ADA rolls as many times as you want. You don't have to roll. You can sit back and collect rent from your properties. But there'll be some incentives to roll, or you might want to be kind of what I call the lazy landlord and just sit back and collect rent and try to make the leaderboard that way. So the dice rolls is one way to fund the board game. Another one is going to be jail. Once you go to prison in our game, you can either sit on a 4-hour cooldown timer, or you can pay 5 ADA to get out right away.
Okay.
So kind of just like the board game when you can pay to get out. And then the last way, we're going to do one rebuy of our in-game currency called Cardopoly dollars, which is basically like the fake currency in the board game. And we're going to allow one rebuy per round in that game with ADA prizes. So between those three, that's how it's going to fund our prize pool. When you think about it, 750 players, they rebuy 1 or 2 times during that week. You're starting to get up towards a 10,000 ADA prize pool per week.
Wow.
So with the Cardopoly money, can you convert it back to ADA or no?
No, so we wanted, with the congestion, the way it has been, for season 1, we wanted to have property ownership and Cardopoly dollars only live within the game. So these are only going to be on our website, not linked to the blockchain. The only thing in season 1 that's going to be connected to the blockchain is your NFT game piece, but that will pull in real time how much Cardopoly dollars you own, which is what's going to track you on the leaderboard, how much Cardopoly dollars you own.
Okay.
It'll track what game properties you own, and it'll track where you are on the board at any given time. So it's interesting that way, only having that one thing that's connected to the blockchain, but it really controls everything about the game, which is why the NFTs are so important.
Well, that makes sense. It's just an in-game currency, just because if it wasn't, then then it would just be like another crypto token that people be swapping out all the time.
And we don't want to get into tokens.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to be dropping a crypto token. So it's going to be in-game currency, fun money, just like the classic game. But that is what we're going to track our leaderboard with, and it's going to be what you use to buy properties in season 1. So you're going to go around the board, you're collecting rent in Cardopoly dollars, you're buying properties in Cardopoly dollars, you're paying taxes and fees based on the community landing squares in Cardopoly dollars. But it's funded by ADA dice rolls, and it's paid out at the end of that week in ADA prizes.
Nice.
And then you said the dice rolls don't carry over to the new week, but then I'm assuming also the same with the money, because you got to reset from 0. Otherwise, the guy in first place will just keep running with it. So that'll reset as well along with the dice rolls.
You got it. Yeah.
Like starting cash or whatever.
Properties, cash, and dice rolls do not carry over to the next game. That's one thing that I really wanted to make, I really strongly believed in, is I wanted every game to be fair, no matter who you were and where you were on the board. I didn't want to give any benefits to legendary holders. I didn't want to give any in-game benefits to, rarity charts. So it doesn't matter if you own the most common piece or the highest ranked piece in the game environment, everyone's equal.
Yep.
Right.
Even if you won last week, and the week before, right? Like you're definitely starting on a fair slate, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like, so there's a go to jail card, go to prison card, or square tile to land on. Is there a lot of other tiles is it just all properties as you go? I mean, that's so many spaces. Or is there going to be kind of just in between, like other maybe rewards, or like, hey, you get two extra rolls or anything like that as you go throughout the board?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tom. So I don't I don't know, Tommy, if you're able to pull up our board or not, but
Oh, absolutely. This
Oh,
just came
yeah,
out
just
tonight
came
a little
out.
bit as we were getting ready to sign on. I haven't even really seen this yet, other than prior to this jumping in here.
yeah,
This
so
is interesting.
Yeah, this is just our basically our concept, our mock-up, so that people can see kind of the idea, because we've been talking game pieces for a few months now, and I just wanted to give everyone a visual of what we're thinking of for the board, because it is unique. It's not the same as the classic game. Basically, it's going to be 8 quadrants of properties. So you'll see on each side of the board, there's a color block, 2 color blocks of different style properties. But imagine each side being 375 landing squares long. So this is very scaled down.
Oh, wow.
So it'll go community landing zone, and then 3 properties, community landing zone, 3 properties all the way around the board. We do want to add in a couple of little secret pieces like utilities and railroads. So those are kind of TBD right now, but we have some good ideas about those. And then one of the things that's different about the classic game is there's no cards that you're drawing. The community landing zones are fixed, and they're going to have kind of a mysterious event happen when you're landing on them. And they're not essentially the same as the classic game. So for example, one of the community landing zones could move you around the board, halfway around the board, which would be huge. Could move you backwards around the board. So there's movement pieces on those landing zones. Some of them are gain Cardopoly dollars, but we've put in some really funny text and homage to the community and different people in our Discord on some of the sayings of how you would lose money or how you would gain money. So I'm really excited about that. Just kind of referring to different things that's happened over the last 3-4 months in the community. And then one of the more unique things that happens in our game is we really want to make sure properties are having a high turnover rate. So some of the community landing zones will actually burn your property down and give it back to the bank.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's not necessarily the safest thing to be, collecting all the properties and thinking you're just going to get around the board being Esquire property owner. Yeah.
That's what I was asking. I like the idea of the lazy landowner, like you said, because the board is so long and you have 250 rolls. Even if you were to get a lot of low rolls, you could almost build like your own gauntlet that players have to go through. Like you have to get through the next 15 squares, and I own 9 of them because I just got a bunch of 1s and 2s in a row, and I bought the whole thing. So I'm just going to sit here.
I would totally do that.
Yeah, I'm just watching all these dummies come through and keep landing on all my squares because I got the next 8 squares in a row. Good luck. Oh, you landed on 3 of them. Have fun. We'll see you next time you come around.
Yeah, for sure. And if you own 3 or more properties within the same color block, which should be fairly easy to obtain, then you get double the rent on those color block tokens. Nice. So let's say in the first gray quadrant, you get 3 properties of the gray. Then for each of those 3 properties, you get double rent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then will you be able to trade? Is there going to be any sort of trading or matching properties?
I was going to say too. Yeah, like I almost can't stop myself anytime this topic comes up, because in season 2, these properties will be NFTs themselves, which is going to open up an entire new thing that's going to be going on in the background while the game's being played, right? Because you're going to pick up, a couple of these orange squares here. You're going to see that one orange square that you need sitting up on JPEG, for whatever, and you're going to want to pick it up, right? Or you might see a guy that has 2, you got 1, so you're gonna throw the third up, right? So, and as soon as he buys that, as soon as it settles on the blockchain, in an hour or 2 at the most, he's gonna see that boom in game available. So it's things we're really excited about for season 2. But at season 1, the properties will exist fully off chain. But we're going to expand more and more with each season with what we're going to do with these things.
Which makes sense. Make sure, get things working, get people involved and playing first, and then keep developing on theirs. Then kind of gives us something new to each season. So it's changing up the actual game style and making a little more strategy.
different versions of the boards? Like you said, you have that version coming out as far as you have to own the NFT for the land, but is there still going to be like the cheaper version to play? All you need is just the game piece to play on the version 1 board, where all you need to just hop around?
Even in, even in season 2. So when it evolves, right, to where when you land on a square and you have the opportunity to buy that property, and in season 2, that property lands in your wallet. Whereas in season 1, that's off chain and it's on the website, right. It's displayed. But you still don't necessarily need to go, to the secondary market and buy one, right? You can still play the game just like normal. You are opened up to the fact that, other people are probably going to be doing this. But it's still going to be the same thing. Just bring a token and you're going to be able to play.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think the thing to clarify there is when we do go to minting properties, you're not going to be buying them for like the property price in ADA. It's just going to be minted into your wallet for dust. Right. You're buying them with in-game currency still. So because the properties won't carry over from game to game. So they'll just be minted and they'll be, kind of a keepsake in your wallet after. You're not going to be able to join the following week's game and be like, hey, I have all these minted properties.
Okay.
So you're just going to be paying the dust to mint, not like 80 ADA per property.
Got it. Okay. I was curious. I was curious on that too. It's like if I'm owning these properties, I'm minting them during my wallet, and somebody comes through and like burns my property down. Like, how is that? Like, will it get removed from my wallet? I was like, how you? I wouldn't assume you'd have access to do that. So.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of more what we're thinking for season 2, to open up, trading and a little bit of different aspects to the game. But for season 1. The only option is to buy the property, don't buy the property, pay rent, pay double rent, or sell back your property to the bank if you're in a tough spot, but it's going to be at 50% value. So those are the only options you have with the properties for season 1. Love looking ahead to season 2. And sometimes I have to stop my brother Drex because he gets so fired up. But, in reality, there's a lot of opportunities for, adding in houses, hotels,
so much,
partnerships with other projects like, an ISO Homes building these houses and hotels. There's just some really cool things and we've already been talking to a bunch of projects about stuff that they can do for our board, claiming sections, making their own art within our board.
Well, I know that brings me to a new opportunity too, of like of why the classic game moving into the blockchain, like the possibilities of what you guys can do with this are obviously probably endless. But like I said, the community zones, the different spots. I thought a cool thing would be like obviously like during this week or this time, like we have a certain spot. If you land on it during this time or during this section of the week, you get you get an airdropped NFT, you get access into this, a token, whatever it may be. And that would, it can encourage people to go ahead and visit during certain times or do different events. I think that is a very unique opportunity inside the space and how this games can, evolve into this, this Web3 world that we're going into.
And that idea kind of talking to some other projects sounds exciting because, you can almost start getting into like different versions of the board based on projects or something like that. Almost like the classic game they have their Simpsons version and Lord of the Rings version. So you could have a yummy board or a clay board and kind of have those themes going on, just make it a little more fun and interactive then.
Or they can advertise on your board and say this week we're going to give this background that, they pay you guys out to advertise on that stuff.
You see me smiling because these are all things that I'm, we're kind of brainstorming. We've already talked to a few other projects, for season 1. We're not going to, the property space in the middle of the board of a 1,500 property board is massive. That is some prime real estate for advertising. But,
dude, for sure.
We're not really going down that path just yet. For season 1, if there is going to be any collaboration opportunities, it's going to be kind of just as you mentioned, Tommy, we're going to have sections of the board dedicated to a certain project where that if they land on a particular square, they would get an airdrop NFT from that project that would be, donated on behalf of them for naming that section of the board.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of where we're going. There's, we got something really cool planned for the prison, which I can't say yet. But there's a lot of opportunities to partner. But I think the biggest thing for us is we just got to prove ourselves. We got to come up with a game with great mechanics, live tracking of all these players moving around the board. live leaderboards, and I'm super excited about watching this all come together.
Well,
Any community landing zones for like a jailbreak, like everyone gets out of prison at once?
Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, so Doey from the UK, he's kind of got the best. He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, I'll say, but he also has the best wit in the group. So he's come up with all 375 community landing squares
nice.
On Excel, which we are still changing daily based on certain members' input. But yeah, there's gonna be some fun times had around the Cardopoly board.
Oh, I bet. And I think too, I'm sure Drex can appreciate this as far as like a stats. I'm a big stats guy too. So I love to see like, I always try to collect something or achievements or leaderboards. I think, do you guys have any plans for anything like that down the line as far as once, the leaderboard, say I'm a 3-time winner of this, or I get a trophy, something that I can like hang on my profile if somebody is able to like click into me on the leaderboard or see like, hey, this guy's like a professional Cardopoly player over here. He's one of the top guys inside the community. You guys have any plans for anything like that?
Yep.
Yeah. So go ahead, Drex.
I know. I'm just so excited.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We definitely want to do some achievement airdrops.
Nice.
And this definitely ties in a little bit with what I was saying earlier, where we want to tag that you are eligible for this airdrop and allow you to basically call in that airdrop, right?
Like a Cardopoly belt.
Yeah. We can just throw these achievement NFTs off, no problem, under a separate policy ID, just for fun, no big deal, right? It doesn't cost us a thing. So, and it's a lot of fun. So there's tons of opportunities for us to do various things exactly like that.
Yeah, I think
here's a couple that I was thinking of. The lazy landlord who sat back the longest and collected the most rent without rolling the dice. We could do a little token for that. Who spent the most time in prison? That's a good one.
That's a good one.
The inmate chart. Yeah.
Who degened around the board and bought the most dice rolls? There you go. So there's some cool little things that we can do to give achievements to players, and they don't have to be NFTs. They can be tokens that are the same for every game that we award. Like just like literally a coin that has a little achievement on it.
I think, like you said, as it iterates, I just like envision this like down the line, like years down the road. This board now is flipped up and it's 3D mode, and you guys are flying around or boating around into these different like things as you guys have developed this. Like you could take it endlessly as far as where it's going, but to see it from the start and the top down, you guys have got a great base, and the possibilities are endless with this, man. Like obviously, you got the game mechanics are there, you got a good baseline, and then from where you want to take it, I mean, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, you guys must have fun too, getting creative with a lot of this. It got a lot of potential for working. I mean, not a potential, you had to fill in the spaces. So, it had a lot of work to do to get everything, like you said, all the community landing zones set up and actually the property name. So I bet some of it's, daunting, a lot to go up against, but it's been fun.
We're not getting into naming the properties for season 1. That's just like, kind of unrealistic.
Oh man, that'd be 15. Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
But what we do want to do is allow in season 2, with the ability to mint properties, is to allow the users to name those properties on the board. So as you go around, the board will populate with different names that the users say, with some rules. Like, we got to have some rules. You can't be doing anything explicit, but
can't just be saying anything.
Yeah. You got to get a chat filter or something like that.
But yeah, for season 1, we're just going to number the properties and have them with the color and then what particular rent and price they're going to have on the pieces.
And then will they follow similar rules, like the early spaces near the start will be a cheaper rent, and then as you come back around to the start, you'll get hit with those higher rent prices towards the end?
So it scales up based on the quadrant. So it's not going to be by group of 3, it's going to be by quadrant. So everything in the gray zone will be a certain price, everything in the orange, et cetera, et cetera.
Any what about extra rolls for like pass and start?
Yeah, so we're going to build in just like you would get currency in game. If you pass start, you're going to get Cardopoly dollars when you pass start.
Nice.
But some of the community landing zones will give you extra rolls, free rolls.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Take a while to get around to that start, though. I'm curious to see. Like you said, you're still fine tuning those numbers. I'm sure, kind of play testing and beta testing. But yeah, it's trying to find out how many fits that sweet spot to get around, but then have enough roles to really play and be involved.
There's 2 things that we kind of had to do. So one, we didn't want to make this game be a grind. So we are doing a daily 24-hour roll cap per player, so that not one person can get around the board, and just buy their way around the board.
You hear that, Tommy?
We're capping each day so far at 250 rolls per 24 hours, which would reset at 8 a.m. Eastern every day, so that depending on how well you roll, some people will get further around than others. Also, remember those community landing spots could shoot you around the board to different spots. So on day one, you're going to have people all over the board, not necessarily all clustered together. But we wanted to do that so that it was fair. But the other thing that, like you said, we got to iron out in beta is how long does it take to roll 250 times?
Right.
Because we don't want this to be a grind where you're playing 4 hours a day for a week. So we're gonna adjust that 250 rolls to cap at no more than an hour of play per day.
Right.
Probably a little bit less. So if it works out to be 75 or 100 or whatever it is, we're gonna really try to stress test that number so that it's fun and it's not a grind.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's might be more for the development side. Early on, like season one, will this be something you can access to, like the site on your phone, and be able to play from that, or you need to be on desktop while you're playing?
So given that we're just this Web3, we're all Web3 all the way. As soon as Yoroi releases their mobile Web3 frame, we'll be in mobile. But until then, you'll have to play in the browser. Really, rule is just you can play anywhere as long as you have a Web3 wallet in scope, which right now is very limited. Obviously, we're limited to Chrome and Firefox right now, but that is going to change as Yoroi keeps rolling out new stuff. So,
also, I was thinking, my thought was, it seems like it'd be more enjoyable on the PC, on a desktop or laptop or tablet, even just because of the size of the board and manipulating the pieces and kind of the UI and everything. Doesn't seem like something that would really work for a phone. A phone's much more simple. This seems like it's got so much complexity to it. You really want to be able to enjoy it, not have a small zoomed in screen just showing a little kind of quadrant. So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, like they have board game simulator and stuff like that for Steam, and a lot of those games would not be enjoyable if you try to play it on the mobile side as much. So, but it is cool that you are going to be able to eventually, and you're going to work that out, because like you said, if you're going to be playing a weak game, if you're out and stuff like that, you don't want to get passed up and want to have that option to kind of get your rolls in and make sure you're, being a good landlord and, getting your rent.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, like even if you're not playing, you'll be collecting rent based on the properties you own. What'll get really interesting is, let's say you make the leaderboard and there's 2 days left in the game, and you decide to sell your NFT. So if you take over someone else's game piece, you can technically take off where they left off on the board that week. So what could get interesting is if you have your game piece and you have documentation showing you're second or first on the leaderboard, what would that go for on the secondary market?
True.
If someone wanted to take over and finish the game and try to take that first place prize.
Yeah, could you imagine if that first place prize, like you said, I don't know what, is there a cap? You said, was it 10,000 ADA that on there for the price?
No, there's no cap. So it depends on, 75% of all dice rolls, everything is going to go towards the leaderboard, and 25 is going back to the project to fund development.
Yeah, can you imagine if you have a huge week of all these people participating and you're the #1 spot in there, you're almost guaranteed victory, and then you're like, hey, you know what? This is going to get me a good little chunk of ADA right here. I'm going to go ahead and sell it to somebody and then mark them up at that price. I think that's a whole other layer of complexity you could add.
I don't know how to think about that and how that would price, but I'll leave that up to the secondary. But it's going to be cool to see the strategies involved. A lot of it. You guys are definitely welcome to help us in beta testing.
Awesome.
It'll be cool to see the strategies involved and how that works, and to see if the lazy landlord really pays off. I mean, the one game changer is the stash house. So you land on that and you get 15% of all the Cardopoly dollars that have been paid in taxes and penalties on all the community landing zones. So if someone hasn't landed on that in a while, and 750 people have been paying into the middle pot, that could put you first place on the leaderboard pretty damn quick.
Yeah, that'd be easy money right there. Wow, I could really shake things up. I like how you have so many different things, especially the zoom around the board feature, the teleport, whatever you're going to call it, because you highlighted when you said then everyone's not kind of congested in one spot of the map as they do their early rolls. You can end up getting 2 or 3 days in, and people have already gone through that side of the map multiple times because they've been getting those community landing zones and have already started filling up some of the spots. So it kind of helps to keep it played out even on the first and second day.
Yeah, and I like this too, because I was sitting here, I'm like, I can kind of tell where everybody's at, and like, hey, there's 89 players currently on the square, so you'll get little visual cues and stuff too to kind of show where some people are throughout there. So is that something you're going to see in like real time? Is like, hey, dude, there's all these players in this different area that you'll be able to see.
Yeah. So at the very minimum, you'll see something like what you see here, where it's like, hey, it's indicating there's 89. But I think there's some really cool shit we can do to, possibly indicate even, if there's a lower number of players on a square, there's obvious ways we can show them all at once. But I think there's some interesting, neat ways we can show them all at once if there's like a massive number. But definitely more to come on that visually.
Nice. Well, it seems like you guys have a pretty good base for what you guys are looking to build over here. I'm excited to go ahead and actually get into this. And so for the people looking to actually jump in, so once you guys finish up the mint, you guys said back in about June is when you guys are looking to actually get the game. Is that playable?
Yeah. So we're aiming to have our beta done for April, testing well into May. So, for us, it'll be probably the team testing in April. Towards the end of April, we'll open it up to our membership beta testing.
Okay.
And then that'll go all the way into June, and we plan to launch our game end of Q2, so by the end of June.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited too, because you hear all these games and all these different things being built inside the blockchain, and no, we haven't really seen anything that you can physically go out and actually play right now. It's all a nice promise, and it sounds like fun, but until you actually get out there and actually experience it, and like, is it actually going to be fun? Ties a huge like value to the actual NFT project itself. So I'm excited to actually start jumping into some of this stuff. So, and this is one of the ones where I'll definitely, I'd love to beta test or to like help you out. I mean, that'd be awesome.
Give Tom the thimble.
The part I'm excited about most is that there are a lot of games coming into the space, or people saying that they're developing games, but what we've seen as far as previews go, a lot of them seem more open world, quote unquote metaverse type deals. Is it a game? Is it a metaverse? What's actually going on? You're just walking around with a 3D model. Some of them have like a play to earn tag attached to it, where it's mainly based on getting their tokens value up, and then you kind of get involved with the project. But this is the first one I've seen, I feel like, that actually has like a lot of strategy involved, where there's going to be like the competitiveness and strategy, a weekly running game that's kind of always open. And then it's not necessarily tied to a token, like you're going to have real ADA rewards, which I like really, because if you start out strong, you can then pay for like your season 2, season 3 almost with their winnings from the last week. Like you can just kind of keep those rolling as you pay for more rolls. Like I just banked up 200 ADA or whatever it is from coming in 20th place last week, and now I can just kind of throw those now towards more rolls and try to push for that first place and kind of keep yourself playing without even maybe necessarily need to spend more money if you do well.
Yeah. And Tom, like that's like a huge thing of our value proposition, is to really just let people see everything as we have it, right? Like we're not going to like try to develop the world's most perfect game and then show it in 6 months. We really want to get out there with the beta as soon as we can, right? Tweak it with the community, collaboratively, so that everybody feels like they're a part of it, because they are going to be a part of it, right? And as I talk about the cool stuff we can do in season 2, that's something we maybe could have done like a larger drop and stuck that on a roadmap somewhere, but we really just want to come out with like the bare minimum of what we can, and then just keep making it cooler and cooler each season.
Yeah, could bring that proof of concept, show it works first to really get people excited instead of, overloading with promises. Because we just see a lot of promises in this space, and you're always waiting like, well, when is it actually going to happen? So far, so early. With a lot of these projects that have kind of started emerging as metaverse or games kind of in the early end of or the late end of 2021. So we're still just all waiting. When are these actually going to develop? And some of the games, I'm not in game development or production or anything, but from what you see or what they're kind of showing, it almost seems like they have 5-6 years of development ahead of them with what they're promising. And especially with some of the size of their teams too. They're very ambitious for what they're claiming they're going to do, whereas a top-down board game seems so much more reasonable with the resources and really something you can get out and show that works. And then there is that complexity to it, where it doesn't need to have necessarily a lot going on with a whole 3D rendered world in Unity or something. You can keep it simple, and there's still all that strategy and complexity that keeps you playing though. There's plenty of games that survive like that. I mean, I have board game simulator on Steam, and some of these simple games like Wingspan and stuff like that, where they're pretty simple as far as their look. You know, they just look nice and clean like your pieces do, and then the strategy that gets into them goes crazy.
Yeah,
I'm just
for
excited to
sure.
see how
I
people
mean,
break your game. That's gonna be the
I'm
fun
curious
part,
to see how
right?
people really get into it. Like, if
Right.
you know, some people are just bulldozing the map and running through, buying everything, buying as many rolls as they can every reset period, and then if that, you know, early on, how that's going to pay out, what kind of return they're going to see. Whereas other people play it slow and kind of sit in their areas, maybe roll slowly, save their rolls, and see what other people do, and then play off of them. It'll be kind of crazy to see how these strategies develop, because 1,500 spots, it's going to be a whole different game.
I'll be
if
the
you
lazy
rush-
landlord.
Yeah.
Pay
Yeah,
up,
I
pay
like
up.
the lazy landlord. If you rush it on the board at the beginning, right? Like there's so many squares you could buy within the first third of the board. You could be out of Cardopoly. Like you're starting with 10,000 Cardopoly dollars at the beginning of the game. You could be out by the time you reach halfway and be stuck and have to either rebuy. Like you kind of have to strategize a bit, because if you want some of those nice properties towards the end of the board, you're not going to be able to buy every time. So it'll be interesting, and I'm really excited to see that. And you know, I think our biggest thing right now is, in Discord, it's pretty easy to show people the game rules. You know, everyone so far has been pretty big fans of our game pieces and art, but how the hell do you explain this all, you know, without in typed writing on Discord? It's, you know, that's why we love you know, these platforms and talking to you guys, because it gives us an opportunity to explain a little bit more about ourselves and explain kind of our vision, because it is complicated, and it's hard to tell on a, you know, however many character tweet you can send, right?
Oh, trust me, we know all about that, right? You can never get just enough in there. You got to tweak it and word it just enough to make it fit.
And
so
just constantly rewording it. I know we were talking to a Wraith recently over there, and he said the same thing. He sits there and you type something out. It takes you 2 hours to finally posting it, because you're like, is this convey the message clearly? Like, it seems kind of like confusing at the end there, and then you're just retyping it over and over again. So it definitely can get tough. Where it's like, can I just make a video and post this for these guys? It's so much easier.
Well, I think hopefully, like you said, after listening through and kind of visually seeing what you guys are building, people are going to understand the rules. You know, and obviously you can read all that stuff online as well through the website. But it'll be dope for everybody to kind of, here's what you know, you guys are visualizing. Here's where you guys are coming from, and here, you know, we're going to see the end product, especially when you guys finally get it out to the public. So I appreciate you guys even jumping in here, because I know we've been, you know, we're approaching towards the back end, like we say over here on our side of this stuff. But I wanted to give you guys a chance to go ahead and, you know, because you guys are currently still minting right now. I think there's 215 pieces left to go, 80 ADA. Wanted to stress too, you know, you can go ahead and mint multiple pieces, but I know it's going to be linked to your Discord profile, your actual. So say I have like 5 pieces inside my wallet. Am I going to be able to, is it going to auto pick one of them? Am I going to be able to choose which one I want to select when the game comes out?
Yep. You'll select the game piece, kind of similar to how you'll select, you know, the type of wallet you want to use, right? It's like, oh, I want to use CCV and I want to use my, you know, my diamond shoe today. But
yeah.
Yep.
Definitely would be rocking a diamond too. I know that one's still up for grabs too for everybody out there.
Yeah.
So, and for you guys too, Bobby and Drex, for anybody looking to get into Cardopoly outside of just the website, what's the best place to get in contact with you guys?
Yeah, so the best place to reach out to us is within our Discord. The link for our Discord is on Twitter. Basically, the best thing you can do is go there and get all of our information. Our minting is done solely on our website, so cardopoly.io, and so you can test out our multi-sig mint method. Like you said, there's 215-ish game pieces left. You know, kind of steadily minting every day. And you know, we're really enjoying meeting all these new members as they come in and mint their game pieces, and you know, we're excited to show more. So yeah, come check us out in Discord. You know, we're always doing some fun giveaways to our holders. So anyone that owns a game piece gets a holders role within our Discord. So I think that's probably the best place to start.
Nice. Yeah, I know every time I kind of pop in there or just scroll through there, you guys are very active inside there. And it's, you know, those Discords, sometimes you scroll in and it's like, there's not much happening in here. You guys usually have a lot going on. So it's fun to see and stop in. And then we'll go ahead and make sure to link, you know, in the description, all your different links and stuff where they can go ahead and find you. But we highly recommend, you know, everybody go ahead and check this out. If anything, grab you a game piece and you'll see you out there, you know, on the game board when that does launch. So Bobby and Drex, it's been awesome getting to chat with you guys. We really appreciate your time. And Bobby, thanks for finally getting us on there. I know you had congrats again to you.
A little busy.
New
Been a
baby.
little busy.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. If anything,
Can you hear
right?
him crying in the background?
No, not.
No, that's
I
okay.
can't mute my mic.
No, but we appreciate your time out here, and Drex, you as well. It was cool to hear a little bit more about the technical side of that, which we haven't really gotten into on some of these. So thank you guys for both providing both good insight on both sides of that. So by the time this drops, hopefully you guys are starting to get towards that sellout time, and then maybe afterwards, where I'm excited for you guys to hit that point and to move on to the next phase. So appreciate you guys' time, and we'll catch everybody on the next Freedom 35 or sit down.